A peer specialist is a person who lives recovery. Our strongest tool, we're one of the newest professions, let me say that, in behavioral health. We're only about 25 years old. But peer specialists are people with lived experience as their key tool in their toolbox to assist others on the journey of recovery. As a peer specialist, I use the analogy of the person that falls in a well, abandoned well. Someone tries to put a ladder down. When the ladder hits the bottom, it's not tall enough to reach the top. They offer them a rope, but the rope doesn't go down far enough that they can grab hold of the rope and come up. Then comes the peer specialist with a flashlight and jumps down in that hole. And they say to that person, we're not both trapped. The person usually says, hey, we're both in bad shape now. The peer specialist says, we're not trapped. You see, I've been in this hole before, and I'm here to show you the way out. So we walk the journey of recovery with those people that we service, that we are partnered with for recovery. We help them over the obstacles that they find, and we provide them with the resources in the community that we have discovered. Our journey may not be, or our path for recovery may not be right for them. But we realize that everyone has the right to self-determination, and they have to find their own journey, and we are merely guides. We are evidence-based practice that is scientifically proven to be effective in recovery of behavioral health challenges.
I am a veteran. I could be a man, I could be a woman who have served their country, who's willing to put their life on the line for the country that they love. I am a veteran. I left my family and I put my life on the line. I did it for the love of my country. I did it for you, my friends, and my family too, so they could live in this country and be free. I am a veteran. I sacrificed a lot in my life so others could live happy and be free. I fought by land, by air, and by sea. I've seen and done things that I'm not proud of, but I did it for the things that I love. I am a veteran, like other brothers and sisters who was in the uniform, wearing it very proudly and free. Some of us are sitting here today with PTSD, just so others can live in this country and be free. I am a veteran who took and swore an oath that I would protect and defend until the day I die. I am a veteran. I love this country. So please, America, don't pass me by. I am a veteran, and I will be a veteran until the day I die. I am a veteran, and all I ask of you is please understand me and give me my due. So please remember the veteran.
Who would imagine that a sergeant major in the United States Army would find himself in a position where he was in a mental crisis? About 16 years ago, I experienced a stroke, which brought to life some very deep feelings that I had and forced to threshold the front my depression. Living with major depression and discovering that I also was living with post-traumatic stress was a revelation to me, because I never wanted to be one of those people. But the reality is that I had been one of those people for many years. After taking myself to a local recovery center run by the county, I discovered that recovery is an ongoing journey and many people have that journey. I live with major depression and post-traumatic stress, but I live. I won't go into details about my journey and my attempts of suicide, how I didn't love myself at one time, but more I'd like to concentrate on the journey home. I discovered that the best medicine I had was talking to people who had lived experiences, people who had already gone through what I went through. Now, surprisingly, I found a community of veterans who had gone through similar experiences. At the time, the Veterans Administration had not organized peer support services completely. I discovered becoming a peer specialist was one way for me to help people and at the same time enjoy the benefits of my recovery. In a short period of time, I became a member of the board of directors for the Georgia Mental Health Consumer Network and learned the power of advocacy. I began to facilitate recovery groups and talk about mental illness, substance use disorder, and realized that there were many, many, many people who needed to hear the good news of hope. I live in hope. I live in a community where I see the difference that peers make and how we can empower each other to become greater. In the Veterans Administration, I work in the Community Resource and Referral Center of the Atlanta VA. Sounds like a small job, but the Community Resource and Referral Center handles veterans who are in crisis of housing, either at risk or literally homeless. How can a veteran, someone who served our country, be homeless? Well, greater than 90% of the people we see live with behavioral health challenges, substance use disorder, which is a symptom of a deeper wound. You see, I understand that veterans experience what we call unspoken wounds. Veterans who live with disorders like post-traumatic stress, which is the most widely known, moral injury, which is the one where you feel guilty about either not providing what you could for your family or not providing aid or survivor's guilt. And most recently, we realized that veterans are self-medicating. You see, I never considered it self-medicating. I never had a drinking problem. I had the money to afford the alcohol, and I drank. And so first I drank so I felt better. Then I drank so I could go to sleep. And then I drank so I didn't feel. And so when I worked myself up to about a gallon of vodka a day, I realized that I might have a problem. Never diagnosed with substance use disorder, I sought help through an organization or a program called Double Trouble in Recovery, correct? Through the Double Trouble in Recovery group, I learned that unlike some other 12-step programs, I could work with my behavioral, my mental health, and my substance use simultaneously. I realized that my use of alcohol was a chance for me to calm the pains that I was experiencing in my life. You see, veterans live a very closed life when it comes to the pain that they experience. Veterans are usually in a protection mode for their families, friends, and people who are close to them. We tend to keep a lot inside, but we learned that when veterans talk to other veterans, healing can happen. In my 7-8 years at the Atlanta VA, I've been elevated to a position of being the national point of contact for all peer specialists working in Division 7, which comprises of Georgia, Alabama, and South Carolina. I have more than 60 peer specialists across the state of Georgia, Alabama, and South Carolina who use me as their voice, who advocate for them so that they can provide services for their fellow veterans. We all have our certifications from our different states or from the Veterans Administration, and we are excited about the possibility of spreading the good news of recovery throughout the veteran community. As I mentioned before, veterans have a very closed society. We don't talk to people who don't understand the veteran experience. What I'd like to leave with people today is to understand this. We are people. We are people who have put our lives on hold or on the line for the sake of our nation. PEP actually is a brainchild of someone I worked with and have great admiration for, Beverly Ragland. Beverly and I worked together in the VA. As a matter of fact, I sat on Beverly's certification panel when she certified as a peer specialist. And PEP actually reached out to me, not through Beverly's intervention, but some other people that I met along the way. And they reached out to me and said, hey, you sound like a good person to talk about what we're doing as peer. And PEP has approached me about things that they can do to help the veteran population that I service every day. And I found PEP to be a very powerful community organization, linking with some of the organizations that the VA has memorandums of understanding or agreement with, working hand in hand with their community and other recovery communities to help all persons who have behavioral health challenges. PEP is a not-for-profit organization that is truly dedicated to assisting others and empowering them in their recovery.